Did you know that in 2019 over 500,000 people moved to Texas? Between 2020 and 2022, almost 900,000 people moved there. Many of the people moving to Texas have been from California, with an estimated 1 in 10 new residents being from there. Other states that people are moving from include Florida, Louisiana, Arizona, New Mexico, and Illinois. But why are so many people moving to the Lone Star State? Well, today on Across the Globe, we're going to be looking at why Texas has seen such a huge increase in new residents. Number 1. Affordable housing. One of the biggest reasons people are moving to Texas is because they're seeking affordable housing and more space. The median home sale in January of 2023 in Texas was only $336,000, below the national median sale of about $383,000. But this trend wasn't unique to January. Texas, in general, is more affordable than housing nationally and way more affordable when compared to states like California, where many people are moving from. Rent is also relatively affordable here. According to rent.com, the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Austin is a little less than $1,700. In Houston, that number is only about $1,300 per month. And as an added bonus, you get more square footage living in Texas. The average size of a home there is over 2,000 square feet, making it one of the states with the largest homes in the country. Number 2. Tax advantages. There are only 9 states in the country with no state income tax, and one of these is Texas. However, Texas has taken things a step further than other states with no income tax because they actually voted in 2019 to permanently ban state income tax through a constitutional amendment. This is a big deal because state income tax can add up. Obviously, this is good news for individuals and families moving to Texas and looking to save, but Texas's tax codes also benefit small businesses as well. The cost of doing business in Texas is well below the national average, and they have no corporate income tax either. Number 3. Cost of living. Based on what we've talked about so far, affordable housing and tax advantages, it should come as no surprise to you that the cost of living in Texas is far cheaper than many other places. And that's another big reason people are moving here. According to data from Sophie, for instance, the average cost of living in Texas in 2021 was only $39,661, which comes out to just over $3,300 per month for one person. Number 4. Job opportunities. Ordinary people aren't the only ones leaving California for Texas. Even billionaires like Elon Musk are moving there. With more companies being headquartered in this state, this means more job opportunities. Fortune 500 companies Oracle and Hewlett-Packard Enterprise recently announced that they were relocating to Texas. CRB and Charles Schwab also moved there. And of course, as I mentioned, Elon Musk recently relocated Tesla's headquarters from San Francisco to Austin, Texas. But that's just the start of it. Apparently, between 2018 to 2021, about 114 companies moved to Texas from California alone. It seems reasonable then to conclude that an increase in job opportunities is another one of the major draws of moving to Texas, and the data bears this out. I should mention though that it's not just companies that have recently relocated there that act as magnets for job seekers. Texas has booming industries that have been around for decades. This includes industries like oil and agriculture, both of which have played a major role in the Lone Star State's economy. Number 5. Great weather. If I asked you to think of states with great weather, you might immediately think of places like California, Florida, or Hawaii. However, Texas often flies under the radar when it comes to its weather, and it arguably has some of the best weather in the country. Of course, this is yet another incentive for people to move here, especially if they're coming from already warm states like California. So let's break down what Texas's weather is like. While you might picture it as being unbearably hot there, it's actually pretty mild year-round. In the winter, in Austin for instance, average highs are in the 60s, and in the summer they're in the upper 80s and 90s. Dallas's weather is pretty similar, although maybe a few degrees cooler, and as an added perk, it's sunny. In fact, cities like Dallas see over 230 days of sun each year, and when it comes to Austin, that number jumps to almost 300 days. Number 6, family-friendly. Along with affordable cost of living and relatively cheap housing, Texas is also considered a great place to raise a family, and many people are moving here for this reason. Several of Texas's major cities, for instance, have above-average numbers of children, indicating that Texas is becoming an increasingly popular place for families. Of course, when it comes to looking for a good place to raise a family, you're likely looking for a spot with great schools. Luckily, Texas meets this parameter, with schools in recent years outranking the national average. For instance, 8th graders in Texas recently outperformed students from California, New York, and Florida when it came to math, science, and reading. This trend seems like it will keep improving. A 2022 review published by the Texas Education Agency, for example, showed that the number of Texas schools that have received high ratings has increased in recent years. In 2022, almost 28% of the schools evaluated received a rating of an A, while 46% had a rating of a B, and only 6.7% had a C rating. Number 7, traffic is manageable. I know most people probably aren't moving to Texas just because of traffic, but it's an added perk on top of all these other incentives. That's especially the case because most people moving to Texas are coming from California, which has the worst traffic in the country. In fact, WalletHub recently compiled a list of the best and worst cities in the country to drive in, and many Texas cities were at the top of the list. To sort these cities apart from each other, WalletHub looked at 30 metrics across 4 categories: traffic and infrastructure, safety, access to vehicles and maintenance, and cost of ownership and maintenance. While crime has always been a factor in deciding where to live, it's become increasingly important to many people in recent years. A 2022 report from Gallup, for instance, found that the number of Americans who frequently worry about crime is at the highest level since the early 2000s. In fact, they found that 53% worry about crime a great deal, and 27% of Americans worry about crime a fair amount. This makes crime one of the top national concerns of Americans. Now, when it comes to the safest states in the country, Texas actually ranks in the bottom half. So, you're probably wondering why I've included this on this list. The reason is because Texas has a lower crime rate compared to some of the states people are moving from. States like Louisiana, New Mexico, Colorado, and Arizona all rank several points below Texas when it comes to crime and safety, meaning that while Texas may not be the #1 safest state in America, it's definitely safer than some of these other states people are moving from. Did you know that Texas is the second most diverse state in the country? That's the news from WalletHub, which set out to determine which states were winning and losing when it comes to diversity, and Texas was ranked number 2, behind only California. To determine the rankings, WalletHub looked at several factors, including cultural, economic, household, religious, socioeconomic, and political diversity. Notably, Texas ranked number 1 when it came to industry diversity, indicating that no matter your field, you'll likely be able to find a job in an industry in Texas. It also scored high in linguistic diversity, ranking number 3 in the country, racial and ethnic diversity at number 4, and household size diversity at number 5. For those moving to Texas from other urban areas, the fact that they won't lose access to urban amenities is a major draw, because as the second biggest state in the country, there's really no shortage of things to do. Cities like Houston have the Space Center, along with numerous museums, a vibrant restaurant scene, and lots of culture. Austin is a mecca for those who are patrons of the arts, with public arts projects, dance performances, music, and theater taking place regularly. Dallas is home to the country's largest art district, spanning 118 acres, and of course it's the base for the Dallas Cowboys. Plus, as I mentioned earlier, Texas has pretty mild weather year-round. This means that Texans can enjoy outdoor activities no matter the season. For instance, Texas has 2 national parks, Big Bend National Park and Guadalupe Mountains National Park. It's also home to an additional 640,000 acres of protected land, including 89 state parks, historic sites, and other natural areas.